What if your arteries didn't harden because you're getting older, but because they forgot how to breathe? What if your heart isn't tired, your blood just lost its rhythm? You see, somewhere along the way, between prescriptions, processed food, and a life lived under fluorescent lights, we lost the quiet connection between nature and our bodies. And with it, we lost something else, our flow, our energy, our sense of vitality as men. But there's a fruit. Small. Wrinkled, almost forgotten. Passed over at grocery stores and remembered only in ancient texts. This fruit once fed warriors before battle, and monks before silent prayer. It was revered in times when healing came from the land, not from a bottle. And now, for men over 60, this humble fruit may hold the key to restoring what age and stress have tried to steal. Not with force. Not with side effects. But by awakening what your body already knows how to do, heal from within. If you stay with me, I'll take you back to that ancient truth. One that's been waiting quietly in your kitchen drawer, your local market, maybe even your backyard. This is not a supplement. This is not a trend. This is a message, from the earth to your arteries. And I promise, once you understand how this fruit works, you'll never look at aging the same way again. Let's begin. I first met Raymond on a Tuesday morning. He was 71, a retired jazz musician from Oregon, the kind of man who used to move like his music, smooth, certain, alive. But that day, he walked in with a cane. Not because of pain. Because his legs had grown too heavy to trust. He sat down slowly and looked at me. "Doc," he said, "I haven't had a heart attack, no major illness, but lately it feels like my blood just doesn't reach me anymore." He wasn't short of breath. He wasn't dizzy. But something in his eyes said it all. Disconnected. Dulled. As if life was moving, but he wasn't part of it. Most doctors would have run tests, adjusted medication, maybe ordered a scan or two. But I asked a different question. "Raymond, when was the last time your food came from the earth? Not a box, not a bottle, something real, something alive?" He looked down, almost embarrassed. "It's been a while," he said with a faint smile. "I eat whatever's quick. Honestly, I don't think about it, and that's the trap." Not just for Raymond. For millions of men after 60. We don't crash all at once. We fade slowly. Little by little, our arteries stiffen. Our blood slows. Our mornings get quieter. Our strength retreats. And no one tells us why. They say it's just age. But they're wrong. This isn't decay. It's a disconnection. Between you and the natural rhythm your body still remembers. The rhythm of real food. Of sunrise. Of quiet breath. Of fruits grown not for shelf life, but for healing. That's why I told Raymond his body wasn't broken. It was just waiting. Waiting for the right signal. The right nutrient. The right ancient fruit to remind his blood how to flow again. And in just a moment, I'll tell you exactly what that fruit was, and how it changed everything for him. But first, you need to understand something no prescription will ever teach you. Long before hospitals, before pills, before aging was treated like a disease, men turned to nature. Not out of desperation, but because nature understood something we've forgotten. How to nourish the body, not just fix it. And among nature's oldest allies, is a small, wrinkled fruit that most people today overlook. A fruit once traded like gold, used by warriors to prepare for battle, and by healers to calm the heart. I'm talking about the fig. Yes, figs. Not flashy. Not exotic. But powerful in ways modern science is only just starting to rediscover. Inside this humble fruit is a combination of natural nitrates, potassium, and antioxidants that speak directly to your blood vessels. Figs don't force your arteries to open, they invite them. They remind your endothelium, the thin lining inside every vessel, to relax, expand, and allow blood to move again. It's like giving your circulatory system a deep breath. I told Raymond, start simple. 1 dried fig in the morning. 1 more at night. Chew it slowly. Let your body remember. He looked skeptical. But doc, just a fig? Yes, just a fig. But it's never just a fig when your body has been starving for something real. Within a week, something shifted. He told me I still needed the cane, but my legs felt lighter, my mind clearer. By the 2nd week, he had stopped using the cane altogether. He wasn't taking new medication. He didn't start running marathons. He just reintroduced a rhythm his body knew all along. Figs carry magnesium, which supports healthy blood pressure, potassium, which stabilizes your heartbeat, and polyphenols, which fight the oxidative stress that silently stiffens arteries over time. But more than their nutrients, figs carry memory, an evolutionary connection to the earth that your body recognizes instantly. When you bite into a fig, you're not eating something new. You're waking up something ancient. And when that happens, your arteries start to respond. Most men think healing comes from something you take. A pill, a powder, a bottle with bold promises. But sometimes, healing begins with something far simpler. Something free. Something eternal. Light. More specifically, morning light. After 1 week of eating his figs, Raymond came into my office looking lighter, still cautious, still using his cane, but with something new in his voice. Curiosity. Doc, I'm doing the figs, he said. They're interesting. I feel something shifting, but is there anything else I should do? I smiled. Do you have a porch? I asked. Yeah, sure. Why? Good. Starting tomorrow, I want you to sit on that porch and eat your morning fig under the sun. Even if it's just 5 minutes. He blinked. You're prescribing sunshine? I'm prescribing rhythm, I said. And your arteries speak that language. You see, most men don't know this, but your cardiovascular system has its own internal clock. Your blood vessels actually wake up with light. It's part of a system called your circadian rhythm, a biological schedule that affects everything from your hormone levels to your blood pressure to how well your cells repair themselves. And that rhythm? It's anchored by natural light. When morning sun hits your skin, especially within the first hour of waking, it triggers the production of nitric oxide, the very molecule your arteries need to relax, open up, and let blood flow freely. It also lowers morning cortisol, that stress hormone that tightens vessels and restricts circulation. So when you pair a fig, which delivers natural nitrates and potassium, with morning light, which tells your arteries it's time to breathe, you create a perfect, natural signal for healing. It's not a pill. It's not a hack. It's a conversation between food, light, and your blood. And Raymond? He did it. He told me he felt strange the first few days. Just sitting there with a fig like I'm waiting for the sun to fix me, he laughed. But by day 4, it started to feel right. A pause. A ritual. A return to something he didn't know he'd lost. He drank his warm water. Ate 1 fig, and let the light wash over his face. No phone. No thoughts, just presence. By the 2nd week, something changed. He walked into my clinic, no cane. I walked to the post office today, he said, beaming. Didn't even think about it, just got up and went. That's not a miracle. That's the body responding to what it's always known. Food and light. Nutrient and rhythm. Ground and sky. And just like a river that flows better when the ice begins to melt, Raymond's circulation was starting to return. Not because of intervention, but because of reconnection. Your arteries aren't machines. They don't just open with force. They open with trust. And nothing builds that trust better than giving your body what it understands, real food and real light, at the right time. So if you've been waking up stiff, heavy, slow, ask yourself this. When was the last time you greeted the sun with an empty hand and something real to eat? Sometimes, healing doesn't mean doing more. It means returning to what matters. To what works. To what's been waiting all along. By the third week, Raymond looked different. Not just lighter on his feet, lighter in his eyes. The kind of light that returns when a man starts to feel like himself again. And that's when I told him, Raymond, now it's time to unlock the river. He looked puzzled. The river? Yes, I said. You've softened your arteries with figs. You've reset your rhythm with morning light. But there's one more thing your blood needs to move. Water. Most men think hydration is just about avoiding dry skin or quenching thirst. But what they don't know is this, your blood is over 90% water. And your arteries? They're not highways. They're riverbeds. If you don't hydrate, it doesn't matter how clean those riverbeds are. The current simply can't flow. I explained to Raymond, when you wake up, your body is in a drought. You haven't had a drop in 7 or 8 hours. Your blood is thick. Your heart has to pump harder just to get it moving. And worse, I added, your brain, your muscles, and your heart are all fighting over the same limited supply. So we made a shift. Instead of just eating a fig and sitting in the sun, Raymond began his mornings with a glass of warm water, infused with figs. One dried fig soaked overnight in room temperature water. He drank the water first thing, then ate the softened fruit. That simple change transformed his morning routine into a powerful hydration ritual. Why warm water? Because cold water can shock the system, slow digestion, and tighten arteries. Warm water, on the other hand, relaxes the vagus nerve, gently wakes your digestive system, and helps deliver nutrients where they're needed most. Why soaked figs? Because as they rehydrate overnight, they release natural minerals, potassium, magnesium, calcium, directly into the water. So what Raymond was drinking wasn't just water. It was liquid circulation support. After 1 week of this simple ritual, he came in smiling. Doc, he said, I don't crash in the mornings anymore. No more fog, no more stiffness. It's like something opened up inside me. That something was blood flow. Pure, unblocked, responsive. Because here's the truth, you can eat right. You can move your body. You can even get enough sleep. But if you're dehydrated, your healing is stuck in traffic. Water doesn't just hydrate cells. It delivers oxygen. It flushes toxins. It supports nitric oxide production, so your arteries can open, not fight. It's not glamorous. But it's foundational. The first biological tool your body ever knew. So I ask you now, what's the first thing you put in your body each morning? If it's coffee, juice, or nothing at all, your arteries are still waiting. Tomorrow morning, I want you to try this. 1 glass of warm water, 1 fig soaked overnight, 1 slow, intentional breath drink. Chew, breathe, and feel what happens when your body is no longer running on memory, but on momentum. Because when the river starts to flow, everything changes. Doc, I didn't expect this. Raymond leaned back in the chair, his voice quieter, but filled with something rare in men over 70, peace. My legs feel lighter. I don't wake up groggy. But the biggest shift? He paused. I'm not angry all the time anymore. That's when I knew, his arteries weren't the only thing softening. His nervous system was finally breathing again. And I told him, now we unlock the part no scan can measure, your breath. You see, we talk a lot about food, sleep, hydration. But the real master key to circulation, to energy, clarity, and even intimacy, is your breath. And here's the secret most doctors never explain. Your arteries are listening to every breath you take. When you breathe shallow, fast, through your mouth, your body goes into survival mode. Blood vessels tighten. Cortisol rises. Your heart pumps harder, fighting, not flowing. But when you slow your exhale, you send a signal that says, I'm safe. I can open. I can let go. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural repair state. It lowers blood pressure, improves nitric oxide levels, and allows your arteries to release tension from the inside out. So I taught Raymond a simple technique. One he could do in his chair, at the table, or even in bed. The 4-2-6 breath code: inhale gently through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, exhale slowly through the mouth for 6 seconds, repeat for 5 rounds. That's it. No apps. No gadgets. Just lungs, awareness, and rhythm. Why 6 seconds out? Because the exhale is what calms your nervous system. It's the cue that tells your blood vessels, you're not being chased. You're being restored. Raymond started doing this every morning right after his fig water and porch sunlight. And again at night before bed. The results? My heart feels quiet, he said. I don't snap at my wife over little things, and when I walk, I feel like my blood is participating. That's because it was. His breath was no longer just keeping him alive. It was helping him heal. When you add breath to food, light, and water, you complete the pattern. You restore rhythm. Your heart doesn't just beat. It listens. To your environment. To your habits. To your breath. And if it hears chaos, it closes. But if it hears calm, it opens. Flow returns. Warmth comes back to your hands, your feet, even places you thought were done responding. So tonight, I invite you, sit quietly. Close your eyes. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Not for performance. Not for perfection. But to give your arteries what they've been asking for: release. Because healing isn't just what you do. It's what you stop doing. And when you stop holding your breath, your body stops holding the past. There's a moment, just after the sun goes down, when everything quiets. The air stills. The body softens. And the healing begins. But for most men over 60, that moment is missed. Not because they're careless, but because no one ever told them, the most powerful circulatory healing doesn't happen during the day. It happens at night. Your blood vessels don't just carry nutrients. They rebuild. They respond to signals of light and dark, activity and stillness. And during sleep, when noise drops, muscles loosen, and your brain resets, your arteries go into repair mode. They release nitric oxide. They clear out inflammation. They regain elasticity. But only if you give them the right tools, at the right time. That's why I told Raymond, your morning ritual gives your body momentum, but your evening ritual gives it permission to restore. And that's when we added the final layer, the fig at night. 1 fig, chewed slowly. Paired with warm tart cherry juice or a small glass of water. Why cherry juice? Because it contains natural melatonin, the hormone your body uses to enter deep, restful sleep. It also holds anthocyanins, antioxidants that reduce inflammation and gently open your vessels while you sleep. Why a fig at night? Because figs are rich in magnesium and potassium, which help relax your nervous system and stabilize your heartbeat during sleep. Think of it this way, your fig in the morning wakes your arteries up. Your fig at night tucks them in. Raymond began this ritual. No screens an hour before bed. No heavy meals late at night. Just stillness, soft light, and a simple snack from the earth. Within a week, he noticed something new. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night anymore, he told me. And Doc, I feel rested, not just like I slept, but like my body did something while I was sleeping. It had. While he rested, his body received what it had been missing for decades: consistency. Natural signals. A steady breath. A quiet gut. A full glass. A softened heart. Nighttime had become medicine. Because here's what most men don't know, you don't need to do more during the day. You need to recover better at night. And recovery isn't passive. It's deliberate. It's what allows your arteries to restore their natural rhythm, without medication, without stimulation, just by being given a chance. So tonight, before bed, don't reach for another screen. Reach for a fig, a glass of warm cherry juice, and a breath that tells your heart, you're safe now. You can flow again, because the body doesn't fear age. It fears neglect. And the moment you begin to care again, especially at night, it responds faster than you think. It was a cold morning when Raymond walked in without knocking. He wasn't limping. He wasn't holding his lower back like he used to. He wasn't even wearing the scarf his wife always insisted on. But there was something else. He stood in the doorway of my office, took a deep breath, and said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I can feel my feet again." It took me a second to realize what he meant. Not numbness. Not tingling. Not circulation for lab tests to measure. Real warmth. The kind that starts in your chest and reaches your fingertips, your toes, even the places you thought had gone quiet for good. The kind of warmth that says, your body is no longer holding back. Raymond wasn't cured, he was reconnected. His blood was moving again. Not from a drug. Not from surgery. But from the most underestimated therapy we have, rhythm. Food. Light. Water. Breath. Sleep. All flowing in a steady loop, like a quiet river rediscovering its current. And that warmth? It's not just a physical sensation. It's a message from the body that says, I'm here. I'm ready. I remember how to heal. I asked Raymond what felt different. He smiled. Everything, he said. I don't drag my legs when I walk. My hands aren't cold at night. And Doc, my wife noticed something else, too. He looked down, a little bashful. But I knew. When blood moves, so does life. So does connection. So does intimacy. This is what happens when arteries stop fighting and start flowing. When your body isn't just surviving, but participating. It's not about going back to who you were at 40. It's about coming fully alive at 60, at 70, at 80. And that warm current inside you? It was never lost. It was just waiting for the right invitation. Raymond sat across from me one last time. He looked steady. Not just physically, emotionally. A man no longer chasing answers. A man who had found his rhythm again. He said, Doc, I never thought figs and sunlight would do more for me than a medicine cabinet full of prescriptions. And I smiled. Because I knew what he had rediscovered wasn't just circulation. It was trust. You see, at some point in modern life, we stopped trusting the earth. We stopped believing that food could be medicine. That light could be therapy. That breath, water, and stillness could bring us back from places we thought we'd lost. We began to think that healing had to be complex. Expensive. Scientific. But what I've seen, over and over again, is that the body is not confused. It's just been ignored. And when we finally return to what is natural, the results feel like miracles, but they're not. They're simply biology remembering itself. The fig you chew in the morning. The light that hits your skin before breakfast. The warm water that wakes your bloodstream. The slow breath that calms your nerves. The soft silence before bed. They all carry the same message. You are not done. Raymond told me he now walks to the park every morning, fig in one hand, coffee in the other. Not in a rush. Not chasing youth. Just moving with the rhythm of a man who's back in his body. And loving it. His story is not rare. It's just rarely told. Because when men return to the earth, even in small, quiet ways, the flow comes back. The warmth comes back. The presence returns. Not because we conquered aging, but because we finally partnered with it. And that, my friend, is the final layer. Not another supplement. Not another test. But a choice to trust again. To trust that the answers you need may not be waiting in the next prescription, but in the next sunrise. The next sip of water. The next fig you chew slowly, in gratitude. Because healing isn't something we force. It's something we allow. When we finally stop fighting the earth, and let it do what it's always done. Restore us. Quietly. Completely. And just in time. If you've made it this far, then I want to tell you something that most men never hear: you're not too late. Not for healing. Not for energy. Not for connection. Not for the quiet return of your strength. You're not too broken. You're not too old. And you're definitely not alone. You see, what Raymond found isn't a miracle, it's a reminder. That inside every man, even after 60, is a body that still wants to respond. A heart that still wants to beat strong. A current of blood that still wants to flow warm and free. But your body can't do that under pressure. It can't do that under noise. It can't do that while being told it's past its prime. It can only do it when you choose to believe in it again. To give it real food. To welcome morning light. To drink water before the day begins. To breathe like someone who's not running anymore. To sleep like a man who knows tomorrow matters. That's how healing starts. Not with a breakthrough. But with a choice. A fig, a porch. A breath. A quiet evening. A hand resting on your own chest, saying, I'm listening now. So no matter what your blood work says, no matter how stiff your knees feel today, no matter how long it's been since you felt like you, hear me when I say this. You are not behind. You are right on time. And the earth has been patiently waiting for you to come back to the rhythm that made you whole in the first place. So take the fig. Take the walk. Take the breath. Not because you're trying to turn back time, but because you're finally ready to move forward with strength, clarity, and peace. You deserve to feel good again. You deserve to feel alive again. And you don't have to do it alone. If this message stirred something in you, share it with someone you care about. A brother, a friend, a father, a man who needs to hear this more than you know. And if you're ready for more tools, more healing, more hope, subscribe. Stick around. We're just getting started. Because this is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a better chapter. And it starts with one small choice that says loud and clear, I'm still here, and I'm not done yet.